was inspired to enroll in iPEC coach training because I had just gone through some changes in my life, pretty serious changes. I'd been through 20 years working in the energy trading field, and I'd gone through a lot of stress. Um, Probably didn't handle the stress very well, and I learned some things about myself, went through some changes, and I was looking for a next step. And I had happened to have already read Energy Leadership. As working in the energy business, I thought I was going to read about energy leadership, but I read about energy leadership instead. And it made sense to me, and it was something that I felt like I wanted to be more engaged in. So that was why I enrolled in iPEC. The training has impacted me on a personal level in just incredible ways. I thought I knew I wasn't too well adjusted at the time I started the training, but I learned a lot about myself. And more than anything, I learned that there's a lot of parts of me, and whether they are anabolic or catabolic, I need to love them all. If I try to fight them, well, it's a losing battle. But once I learned to embrace and not necessarily act upon, but embrace my gremlins or my down times, it just, my life improved drastically, and not necessarily my life, but my outlook on my life. So, well, for me, the three biggest takeaways from the training were: one, that there were 7 different levels of what we're classifying as energy. Now, there might really be a gazillion different levels of energy, but there's 7 files that we can put each one in. The second thing is that it doesn't matter what they are. They're not really good or bad. They're there, and each of them have a use, and sometimes they're there for us to learn, and sometimes they're there for us to watch. But they're all there, and they all have meaning. And once again, I'll get back to the learning to embrace them. And then third was probably just the learning to embrace every different level. Now, if we're down in level 1 and we're in victimhood, well, I've learned to embrace it gently and say, okay, that's not really going to serve us. Where can we go? But it's anger. Sometimes that's a real good way to get me to act on things, but it's not a good way for me to act toward things or toward people. So, learning to use the different levels was probably number 3. Well, my life has changed from before to after, because I've learned to separate my feelings from my actions, to use the feelings, but to act with more discretion than I probably would have before, in order to not generate catabolic energy towards those around me. Also, I would say that at work, I still work full time in Chevron, and I became someone who got invited to meetings, even though they had nothing to do with what I did, because I could help direct things and get things done in a way that no one was telling someone what to do, but asking, what is it that you really want out of this? I found that to be very useful. And then in dealing with my children and my grandchildren as well, I think that learning to coach or learning to ask questions versus telling and being the boss, it's an immense difference. It's less stressful on me because I no longer feel like I'm responsible for everything. Knowing that everybody has their own answers inside them, and just because someone's not on my path, it doesn't mean that they're lost. So it's just given me a whole better perspective on life. If someone was thinking about taking LPT or the full coaching program and wasn't sure what they wanted to do. Just the fact that you would be open to this kind of training, I would recommend going to LPT. I went. A lot of things I was already aware of, but I wasn't using. I also learned a lot about myself when I go back and I read that workbook. I actually spent a year between Mod 1 and Mod 2 because I took Mod 1 or the LPT, and I was one of the people where they said you might need a coach or you might need analysis, and it turns out I had felt I was after that I was one of the people that had to go search a little deeper. Now I've actually met a coach, and I work with a coach that I probably could have worked with back then, but it all, it all comes together. I would just recommend start and do whatever you feel is best afterwards. I think being a coach is just incredibly rewarding. It's a chance for you to help someone. And the way I think of it is I help people remember their answers and remember their person. We just dig deep till we can get to it. We dig and we dig and we dig. We dig as far as you get comfortable, and then we dig a little more. And it's a real fun exercise. From both sides, I enjoy it as a client as well. I'm coached every other week. I would say that as far as being a coach, that means a lot. And as far as iPEC, it's a real great community. I think Bruce is very inspiring. I think Luke is very inspiring. The coach that I work with a couple of coaches. The coach I work with every other week, Carrie Myers, awesome. She's just awesome. And just to be involved with these people it's a great experience, and I can't recommend it enough.